There's an awful lot to be said for people turning their back on the free press. I mean, you think about it, the whole idea that somebody would be able to quote you and be able to publish your words and other people can read them at their leisure and be able to think about the things that you said without thinking about it. What gall that could have to be. I mean, you think about it. And then somebody could turn around and then make fun of you for it. That's absolutely unheard of, right? Obviously, I'm poking at fun a little bit here at Donald Trump for the way in which he is basically making himself an enemy of the media. That doesn't really go over well long term. I mean, you look at Nixon and the reputation that he had, especially in terms of his antagonism with the press and the press antagonism with him. And the fact that now you've got Donald Trump excluding certain media outlets from press conferences and saying, no, I'm not going to allow you to report on me. Well, that is the kind of action that a dictator takes, and we've talked about that before. Now, this latest is kind of interesting. He's actually not the first president to boycott press events. The Correspondents' Dinner that's coming up, there have been several other presidents that have missed. Of course, Ronald Reagan only missed because he had been shot. However, most of the other presidents in modern times have gone knowing that they're going to be lampooned, knowing that they're going to be made fun of, and they've done it, and they've made fun of it, of the media back, and it's been all, well, not necessarily all in good fun, but there's been a certain lightheartedness that the American people can appreciate. Donald Trump refusing to go kind of solidifies, I think, this point of him really not wanting to get along. However, The Guardian made a really interesting statement here, and I think you may have seen this. I mentioned it during my international news segment today, that all the way back to Thomas Jefferson, the third U.S. president, he complained about how, quote, I got to read this, nothing can now be believed which is seen in a newspaper. Truth itself becomes suspicious by being put into that polluted vehicle. This was all the way back in 1807. So, I mean, there have been a kind of a relationship here. And Woodrow Wilson, of course, being very upset that newspapers quoted him because he was giving remarks that he thought were going to be off the record. Nothing is ever really off the record, especially not today. I mean, you've got a constant recording devices going on. And think about it. You and I, mundanes, regular people, we're being recorded without our permission, and things that we do or say can be used against us for violations that are dreamed up by whatever new law that we don't know is on the books now is on the books tomorrow. You follow me? I think that what's good for the goose ought to be good for the gander, and I think that anybody, whether he's a president or whether he is just a guy on the street, ought to be able to answer for the things he says or the things that he does. That being said, there's a certain amount of privacy that I think people ought to be able to have, which you don't have when you're a public persona. You know, if you're a president and you're giving a press conference, you're going to have to expect that people are going to quote you. So you don't give a press conference, that's fine. But for you to exclude certain members of the press because you don't like the coverage that they're giving you, or then to turn your back on the whole press dinner and say, no, I'm not going to go and let you push me around, that sounds an awful lot like Richard Nixon and the whole you don't have Nixon to kick around anymore speech. Anyway, that's my point of view, and love to hear what you think about it. Send me an email, steve@radiofreespeech.com. Let's engage a little bit. I've had some progress on the phone lines. Hopefully sometime this week I'll be able to start working out and getting in some more phone interviews and possibly getting your voice on the air with me as well. Once again, that website is radiofreespeech.com. Become a patron at Patreon, and, of course, also buy a subscription at radiofreespeech.com. Thanks.